Hey, what's up everybody? Chris here with another Proto Tech Tip, and today we're going to save you some time when designing inside SolidWorks by giving you a head start with pre-made templates. We help keep your projects moving by manufacturing your custom sheet metal and CNC machined parts in 2 to 3 days, with no minimum order ever. Now, our goal is to make this process as easy as possible too. You can use our free design software called Protocase Designer to make custom enclosures, brackets, or panels, or you can start from a CAD template that you can create in our CAD template generator, and that's what I want to focus on for today. Now, many of you, especially the ones well versed in mechanical design, would much rather design inside SolidWorks from scratch. However, have you ever needed to design an enclosure in a very specific way and you have no idea what the enclosure should look like, let alone how to even mount your components inside? So these are all of the questions that you need to answer before beginning your design. But to save time during this process, Protocase has a great feature on our website that gives you a solid starting point, and it's called our template generator. The template generator is part of our My Account portal for customers and allows you to pick a blank template style that fits your design requirements and dimensions, and downloads this template in a step format right to your local drive. We previously did a tech tip about the template generator. If you want to check that video out, the link will be in the description below. So why would this initial step of downloading a template be useful? Well, a designer's main focus should be how their design actually functions. Figuring out how the components are laid out inside the enclosure, figuring out what switches are accessible, are all crucial design requirements. So anyone who's designing for a project that doesn't necessarily want to waste time on creating a template in order to design their layouts for their components, this one's for you. So let me show you what I mean. Our template generator is a fantastic place to start. First, download yourself an L-shaped template size to your specifications and then drag it into your CAD software of choice to begin your design. For this example, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be using SolidWorks. So far, this process took less than 1 minute and has already saved hours of work, as you're now able to just start directly designing your component layout inside the enclosure inside SolidWorks. From here, you have a fresh starting point to begin your design layouts. Now for this example, let's take a micro ATX motherboard and install it into our enclosure. The first design constraint you will need to know is how you want your motherboard positioned. A great common practice is to place any edge of your motherboard at least decimal 0.20 inches away from the inside face. Let's place our I/O cutout on this face, and we will mate the edge of the motherboard decimal 0.20 inches away from the inside face. Now you're going to notice that our motherboard component, we already have a preset sketch for our I/O cutout. We're going to go ahead and add that cutout now. Now that our I/O is placed, we need to determine how high we want to place the motherboard. For this example, let's place the motherboard on a 1/2 inch standoffs, and we can use the mounting holes shown here and cut them through the base of the enclosure. Then we can install our standoffs and then mate the board to the top. So now that our motherboard is mated and mounted in our enclosure, you can see that the majority of the time so far was actually used with the designing of the component layout rather than designing the enclosure itself. One important thing to keep in mind is that our templates are designed with our manufacturing constraints, stock tooling, and processes in mind. If you have a need to change the parameters of the enclosure itself to something specially required, please keep in mind it may become subject to increased lead times or cost if non-stock processes or components are required. Now, for example, if you need a specific bend radius size that isn't in the downloadable template, it may require custom tooling to be made, which is an extra cost and lead time to order. Our engineering and design services team is happy to review the design with you to give you suggestions on how to stay within our 2 to 3 day lead time. Now, at the end of the day, we're here to make parts or enclosures that you need so that you can continue your prototyping and product development. By starting from one of our design templates, our engineering and design services team will need to spend less time making any adjustments that are needed to then be reviewed by you before we can manufacture them. Remember, the faster we can get your parts into production, the faster they'll be in your hands. Now, our team is always here to help. If you have any questions or want to discuss the design you have in mind, just contact your Protocase account manager. That's it for today. Thanks for watching this week's Proto Tech Tip, and we'll see you back here again next week.